far southwest, most likely over Bodmin. But for the vast majority, it's a dry and bright Christmas day, albeit feeling cold in the wind.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. There are reports of pedestrians on or near the M9 at junction 10, causing restrictions both ways. In Reading, debris affects traffic on the M4 eastbound at junction 11, closing 2 out of 3 lanes. Hampshire's M3 eastbound entry slip at junction 13 is fully closed for road management. Conditions are expected to improve between 10:45 and 11 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast services experience disruptions between Coventry and Rugby. Meanwhile, Cross Country faces delays between Wolverhampton and Birmingham New Street. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, here at Hullbrook Animal Rescue, they're being forced to relocate, and if they can't find a suitable alternative, they'll even be at risk of closing. And I've seen the amazing work that they've done here. Just earlier we met a dog called Essie who has just found her almost possible forever home literally in the time that we were here. She only came here a couple of days ago, so it's really great work that they do for all animals. Like this one here, this is Torn, he's just a puppy, and I'm also joined by Laura Santini, who runs the shelter. Tell us a bit about Torn here.
So this is just a little fellow that came in, no fault of his own. The people just couldn't cope with him. So he's lively, and he's a half shepherd, half Labrador. What kind of impact would the possible relocation or even closure have on dogs like this one and all the other animals you have here? Well, simply that we wouldn't be able to take them. So if the next one comes up like this and we've got nowhere to go, then we just can't take them, obviously. So what happens to them at that point, I don't know, because we don't just take beautiful pups like this. We take the old and the sick and the dogs that other people don't necessarily want to take. So I can't imagine what would happen to some of them. So I don't know. It's sad. It's just a sad situation. And you've had quite a lot of support from the community here in trying to relocate. What's been there for you in terms of support? They're absolutely incredible. They've sent 1,000 letters into the council to try and support us and help us and let everyone see the light that, you know, you do actually need animal sanctuaries around. You can't shut them all down. We're always getting phone calls saying how much people like what we do and hope we get our planning appeal when it goes through and things like that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All too often, people will be sitting at home watching a press conference live, and they'll hear loads of questions being asked, and they'll be thinking, that's not my question. That's not my concern.
We don't care whose feathers we ruffle. We ask the questions that you want answering.
You're all standing on the street protesting and wanted to have an open discussion.
My name is Patrick Christies. I do a show for GB News in the UK. Is it possible to talk to you quickly?
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, this is the best view ever of Whitehall, looking out across all the tractor drivers of England who've come together to make their point.
Hello, so as you can see, I'm here in Westminster as the protest begins.
Yes, I'm very much in the thick of it.
Look, we're challenging narratives here at GB News, and that's what sets us apart.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Wednesday the 24th of December, i.e. Christmas Eve, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Cameron Walker and Sophie Reaper.
I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
The
Prime Minister uses his Christmas message to remind the country that the cost of living crisis is far from over. And while Sir Keir strikes a sober note, Kemi Badenoch opts for family, faith and festive cheer.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported me during my first year as Leader of the Opposition. It's been the biggest challenge of my life.
And a Christmas miracle for farmers as Sir Keir Starmer U-turns on the inheritance tax threshold for family farms, with many welcoming the decision.
The high cost that this U-turn has come at. So, yes, we welcome it, but my goodness me, this government has made an absolute mess of this and shouldn't have taken this terrible decision in the first place.
Well, it's Christmas recess at Westminster, meaning MPs are officially off the clock until the new year. But many are asking whether such a long winter break is really appropriate, given the state of the country.
And the King breaks tradition again, delivering his Christmas message from Westminster Abbey, focusing on faith, reflection and the idea of pilgrimage.
And shoppers have slammed the brakes on with spending, with retail sales unexpectedly falling in the crucial run-up to Christmas.
And a stark reminder that Christmas is meant to be a time of togetherness, yet Age UK warns around 1.5 million pensioners will spend Christmas Day alone. Gosh, it's quite horrible, isn't it? 1.5 million pensioners who are alone this Christmas. But if you've got GB News on in your homes, you are not alone, because we're going to be with you right throughout the festive period. We have a great few days for you, and of course lots coming up in the next couple of hours.
Indeed, indeed. I cannot wait. Right at the end of the show, we're going to be going to see our fabulous Yorkshire reporter, Anna Riley. She's going to be in a pub for us, and we're going to make sure to do a lovely Christmas cheers with her, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. And you've got to support pubs this festive season.
Absolutely. Good news for farmers yesterday.
Yes.
We're hoping for some good news for pubs and their landlords in the new year as well. So we're going to be chatting to a landlord in Wakefield, I believe, about that.
And of course, farmers feed the nation, and the cost of a Christmas dinner has gone up drastically over the last couple of years. We're going to be talking to a consumer expert as to potentially why that is and what you can do to make sure you can eat as much as you can this Christmas for less, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Not less pounds, but less pounds, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Pounds
that
weight.
Feels like maths, Cameron, and it's Christmas Eve, so we won't be doing any of that. Absolutely not.
So, of course, Santa is on his way. If you're in the, if you are in the east of the United Kingdom, here they are. Here is Santa Claus. So, I believe, is that New Zealand? No. Where's that?
Now, this feels like we've just done maths. It feels like geography now, but yeah, that is Taiwan. So, it seems like. How many hours now is it until Christmas Day? Yeah. I think a good 15 hours yet to go. But
yes, of course, if you are in the United Kingdom.
Here on GB News, won't we, Cameron?
Definitely. We're going to be tracking Father Christmas all day. Not quite, of course, in the United Kingdom, as you can probably expect. I believe he's been over Japan already. So do let us know what you are doing on Christmas Eve. Are you getting your Christmas dinner ready?
Are you opening your presents? That is a tradition for some people, isn't it?
Yes, the German tradition is to open your presents on Christmas Eve. I think the royal family actually do that.
I was just going to say, you'd be the expert, Cameron. I would trust your call on that.
Yeah, of course, it all dates back to Prince Albert from the 1800s. He was married, of course, to Queen Victoria, and the royal family have stuck with that ever since. But they're going to be at Sandringham tomorrow, of course. Do send us in your photos as well, gbnews.com/yoursay. We'd love to see what you are doing today.
And, of course, we will be checking in with the big guy throughout the day, throughout the morning, I should say.
We certainly will.
And then we'll be handing over to Merry Christmas, Britain, isn't it?
Merry Christmas, Britain.
I forget, it changes its name at this time of year. Merry Christmas, Britain. That'll be coming up at midday. But for the next 2.5 hours, it's myself and Cameron with your Christmas Eve special.
Absolutely, and it is Christmas Eve, so it's time for our political leaders' festive messages.
Well, kicking things off, Sir Keir Starmer acknowledged the country's struggles. Take a listen.
I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
Well, Kemi Badenoch focused on motherhood and her excitement for next year.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported me during my first year as Leader of the Opposition. It's been the biggest challenge of my life, but it's also been a wonderful year. I can't wait to get back to work next year to create a better United Kingdom.
Meanwhile, Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davey campaigned for Christmas trees.
Now, this Christmas tree behind me gets a lot of abuse every year. The social media trolls who spread right-wing conspiracy theories like to compare it to the tree in New York City, in Warsaw, and in Budapest. They say it is an example of our country's decline. And I have to admit, on the surface, it does look a little underwhelming, but it's also my favourite Christmas tree.
See, that's quite interesting, because the Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square does have a hidden meaning, doesn't it, Sophie?
And I only learned what the meaning was by listening to Sir Ed Davey this morning.
Really?
When I heard his Christmas message, yeah.
Gosh. So, of course, there's lots of social media posts about the Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square, looking a little
bit lacklustre, some people have said.
Yeah, a little bit worse for wear. Maybe you had one too many in the pub the night before. But it's a gift from Norway, and it's been a gift from Norway since 1946, I believe, or 47, straight after the Second World War, to kind of give thanks to the United Kingdom for supporting them and helping them defeat Nazi Germany, because, of course, Norway was occupied during the Second World War.
And their king actually sought refuge here in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Sir Ed Davey taught me this morning as well.
Is that Sir Ed Davey's hidden message about refugees and things, though?
He did mention later on in it about the comparison between World War II and Ukraine, and the tree stands in his mind as a symbol of light in the darkness, as a symbol of hope. And I actually think that's quite a unique take on a Christmas message.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think that the other two that we've just watched are, you know, perhaps what we would expect. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But I like that Sir Ed Davey took a bit of a chance and did something a little bit different.
Indeed. Keir Starmer saying still struggling with the cost of living. But we are joined now by the former Conservative Minister, Kevin Foster. Kevin, good morning to you and happy Christmas. What did you make of, well, the three main political parties' Christmas messages, if you go by number of MPs?
Well, it's always interesting to have a listen to some of them. They're supposed to be about Christmas, but they'll all have something slightly different in them that points to what they're thinking about or perhaps some of the challenges they face. So let's start with Ed Davey's Christmas tree. Yes, it's very much about, as he sees it, tackling certain online views, what he'd see a drift towards extremism. It's also quite interesting with Norway, because, of course, Norway isn't in the EU, but it is signed up to quite a lot of EU legislation. You know, it's part of the EU single market. So perhaps a nod to a model that he thinks our country should be looking at. You know, not just a symbol of wartime resistance and hosting the Norwegian government in exile in this country. And also many brave Norwegians who escaped Norway came here to then carry on the fight against Nazi Germany themselves. Kevin Badenoch's message, you know, upbeat, talking about values, talking about faith. Again, perhaps a lot of the theme of her leadership has been trying to say, you know, this is what I believe, this is what I want to do. You know, her initial part of leadership has been challenging, it has to be said. You know, certainly she faced a lot of discussion about her own leadership earlier this year, but is actually perhaps at Christmas now feeling bit more confident, some good positive response to the budget, and also a positive party conference. And then we come on to Keir Starmer's. Well, he certainly proved the polls right, that he's the most likely to give a more boring speech at a Christmas party. But if you look at some of what he's saying, he's focusing on public services, obviously the things that Labour have been putting up taxes to fund. What's interesting is where he signs off at the end about us each doing our bit, a reference to the fact that perhaps, you know, in his view, yes, we're all going to be paying some more tax, but he views that as us doing our bit to support vital services.
Kevin, obviously, we heard the news yesterday about this U-turn on inheritance tax for farmers. Do you think that farmers around the United Kingdom this morning will be thinking that the government are doing their bit by making that change, or do you think that that still doesn't go far enough?
Well, it probably doesn't deal with all the issues with the family farm tax, but it's very welcome, actually quite surprising in the timing of the U-turn. You know, 23rd of December isn't usually the time you make major announcement, but perhaps the Christmas spirits visited Keir a bit early. You know, the Ghost of Christmas Past, showing him the pledges he made before the election, the Ghost of Christmas Present, his abysmal poll ratings as they are today, and then the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, pointing to actually what could have been very worrying times in the early part of next year, with many elderly farmers being all too aware that if they weren't around in April, the family would get the farm without tax, and many of them put their whole lives into being able to pass the farm on. You know, there were obviously people considering some quite desperate and extreme measures. So perhaps that's what prompted this change. But I don't think many farmers will be crediting Keir Starmer or Rachel Reeves much this morning. They'll be pleased about the change, but they look at how they've tried to defend it over the last year, and I suspect it'll only have increased the concern amongst Labour MPs that when they go out on a limb to defend a government policy that isn't very popular at all, they could find themselves very quickly having to explain why the government no longer believes in that policy itself.
See, Kevin, the cynic in me would suggest that it was announced on the 23rd of December because it is in that silly season Christmas week, and perhaps they won't get quite as much scrutiny or analysis from political correspondents as they would have done if Parliament was sitting.
Yes, certainly. And I suspect the Speaker, when Parliament returns in January, will almost certainly rebuke the government for a major announcement being made not long after a budget, where there was a full budget debate and a statement open for scrutiny, and not even done as a statement to Parliament, where immediately, for example, the Shadow Chancellor could be asking questions, or the Leader of the Opposition. Other MPs would get a chance to ask a question as well, including representatives of other parties such as the Lib Dems, Reform, the SNP and the Greens. So, yeah, just to sneak this out in a press statement just before Christmas does smack of a bit of media management going on, rather than necessarily the best way to announce significant government policy changes. That said, it's welcome they have done it, but it does point to perhaps how desperate the operation's getting, that it feels it needs to use the Christmas period for major announcements of U-turns.
Well, speaking of the Christmas period, this is something we're going to be speaking about on the programme this morning, is that MPs now have from the 18th of December all the way through to the 5th of January, they have that time in recess. A lot of people are going to be saying that perhaps that's not the best decision because of the state that the country currently finds itself in. What do you make of that, Kevin? Are our MPs having too long off for the Christmas break?
Well, I think there's plenty of people who think, actually, if Keir Starmer took a longer break, it would probably do the country a favour, given much of what's happened over the last year has probably made the situation a lot worse. Perhaps have another week off in January. But more seriously, there is a balance, particularly for, and I used to represent a constituency that was hundreds of miles from London, and to be out and about in your constituency during the week, if Parliament was sitting, was just impossible. I think what Parliament needs to focus on in the next year is how it uses its time better. There are some really serious challenges facing this country, both financially, socially, and in terms of the global picture. And, perhaps we need a little bit less time appealing to certain sectional interests and a lot more time looking out for the national interest. And that's really what Parliament needs to spend its time doing. I think we'd all rather MPs were spending their time focused and delivering rather than just sitting there and doing stuff for social media.
Well, former Conservative Minister Kevin Foster, thank you very much for joining us, and a Merry Christmas to you.
Indeed.
Merry Christmas.
Now, up next, a Christmas miracle for farmers as Sir Keir Starmer U-turns on the inheritance tax threshold for family farms, with many welcoming the decision.
But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The colder weather the UK is experiencing on Christmas Day extends into Iberia. It's unsettled across the central part of the Mediterranean, also some rain through Turkey. But Greece looking mostly fine, sunny spells here. The rain and wind through the central Med affecting the Balearics, heading into the south of France and Italy later. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal, but feeling cooler, and it's going to stay on the cool side here into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So this is a lovely story because it's about a chap who bought this DB5 and he bought it for 900 quid. This is an Aston Martin DB5.
It's a lovely car.
bought it for 900 quid, and then for 50 years pretty much didn't do very much. He moved to the Middle East, car left was on his driveway, things happened, the local kids jumped on it and various other things, and it just decayed. He has spent pretty much the big wodge of 400 grand having it done.
Do we have a picture of this car now?
Oh, I thought as I was waffling. Well, I can hold it up. But this is how it looks now. There we go. This is how it looked then and now. I don't know which.
So he spent 400 grand on this.
400 grand. He sent it back to Aston Martin.
Oh.
To where it was made, and the reason it's worth now about $1 million is because there were only 37, I think,
39
of them made, and so it's very rare. There we go. Well done, him.
Pretty penny on that. Good for him.
Yeah. Yes, and good for him.
He hasn't made it yet.
No, he hasn't made it. It's just worth. I know. He may.
I was reading a story about a man who'd spent £1 million on a DB5, and it's now worth 500,000. But,
right,
they
OK.
hit a peak a couple of years ago, but who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But don't you want to put money on a car in order to use it, not to sell it?
Well,
I mean,
he's just...
I had a car like that. I drive it.
Of course. No, then that's what... He's not selling it. He's worked hard to... He said we've worked hard to get it...
It's a work of art.
Reconditioned, and he loves it.
I wonder, does it have machine guns and things they're going to...
Oh, no, weirdly, it says no.
Or an ejector
no ejector seat, exactly. Or any of those other things, yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A very good morning to you. The time is 12 minutes to 10 and this is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Now, the government has been forced into a dramatic U-turn on its so-called family farm tax after mounting backlash and growing concerns over the human cost of Labour's inheritance plans.
Yes, Sir Keir Starmer has now raised the threshold to £2.5 million, halving the number of farms affected. A move that comes after the son of a farmer who took his own life says his father would still be alive if Labour hadn't handled this so chaotically.
Well, GB News' reporter Isabel Fekulak joins us from Glidden Farm even in Hampshire. Isabel, good morning to you. What's the reaction been from farmers there?
Good morning, Sophie and Cameron. Well, a huge sense of relief here from farmers, and of course on Christmas Eve here it's business as usual, but the mood is slightly lifted after the Labour government's gift to the farming community that came just in time for Christmas. And this farm here has been in the Sylvester family for generations, and I'm joined now by Nick Sylvester. Thank you so much for having us today. I mean, what sense of relief did you feel when you heard this news come in?
It certainly did feel like a small weight was lifted, and it's a step in the right direction, hopefully, from the government in realising their mistake. It's a shame, I believe, for the government that they've brought in this policy that clearly wasn't well thought out, and it's created so much angst and issues with farms throughout the country in the last 14 months. And hopefully they'll have learnt that they need to think it through better before rushing these policies.
And I know you spent the last 14 months planning. You've hired lawyers and accountants to consult yourselves. How much has this set you back?
So we'd be into tens of thousands, I believe, the cost of trying to plan around these changes in legislation, and when the potential losses are in the millions, we felt it justified spending this money to try and mitigate some of the costs, and it feels a little bit like we need to start again now. The rules have changed, and I don't want to be negative about the change, but the consistency's not great, really.
Right, I'm going to have to stop you there, but as we can tell, the U-turn here, welcome news, but not quite enough yet.
Isabel Fekulak, thank you so much for that. We can now cross over to another farmer, Andrew Shaw, who's up in the northwest for us this morning. Andrew, good morning to you. Now, the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs have said they have now listened to the concerns of the rural community. But is it too little too late?
Yeah, morning everybody. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think, yes, it is. For some farmers, it probably is a little bit too late, really, because there's been some desperate stories out there in the last, in the last 6 months. And yeah, I feel as though we welcome what's been put out yesterday, but yeah, it doesn't go far enough. So for me, I feel as though, we've won the battle, but we're still far from winning the war on this.
Andrew, just very briefly, what do you need to happen now?
Well, it needs to be scrapped completely. It needs to be scrapped. They brought it in on a bit of a whim. They put their argument across regarding, raising revenue for the NHS, and really, it really upset a lot of the farming communities, the way they did it, and putting us against the NHS, because we all work hand in hand. Good food brings good health, and now just to bring this in just before Christmas and to up the threshold of it. Now, I think the revenue that they're going to raise is technically, it can be a calculated error, so there's not a massive amount of money on it. So I just think it should be completely scrapped and started again.
Andrew, obviously Christmas is the busiest time of year for farmers. I know we spoke a couple of months ago, didn't we, as you were preparing for that Christmas harvest. It's an incredibly difficult time with the decisions made by the government. But if you had a message for the Labour government this morning following that announcement yesterday, what would it be?
Well, my message is simple to the government. They still need to listen. They can't keep their heads in the sand. We can't be used as some sort of political game, because it's very interesting. Your previous, was it Kevin Foster that came on before? He was saying that they've done this just before Christmas, so no one can really interrogate, it and bring it back out into the open. I will say this, and I will say this live now, that there's only yourselves that have championed us farmers from the very beginning on this. There's no other channel, and I do thank you for it.
Andrew, thank you so much. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but thank you for joining us. Good luck for everything, and a happy Christmas.
We will continue to support our farmers here on GB News. That is really important. And this Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy.
It's a chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year.
So whether you're with friends or family, or simply in the spirit of the season, we'd love to share this special night of carols with you. So join us this evening at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GB News. Here's a taste of what you can expect.
Stand by me, if thou know'st his telling, yonder peasant, who is he, where and what his dwelling?
So he lives a goodly guest, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, by St. Agnes fountain.
Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me pine logs hither, thou and I shall see him dine, when we bear them thither. fight the winter's rage, freeze like bloodless coldly. In his master's steps he trod, where the snow lay tinted. Heat was in the very sod which the saint had printed. Therefore, Christian men be sure, wherefore rank possessing, he who now will bless the poor, showers us like blessing.
Oh, that was lovely, wasn't it? And that is, you can see the full thing at 8 o'clock tonight, but we'll be back after this short break.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The 83 Loch Gilphead is closed for roadworks, with local access via Mance Bray, Union Street and Lawn Street for light traffic. In Cheshire East, one lane is closed on the M6 northbound exit slip at junction 19, clearing by 10:03 a.m. In Cambridgeshire, the A14 westbound entry slip at junction 38 Newmarket East has delays due to a stranded vehicle. Surrey's M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 is congested after a collision. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is disrupted between Coventry and Rugby. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
A very Merry Christmas to you all from the Aurora Collection Resort in Lapland.
We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000.
And this Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win it all. So don't miss out this Christmas.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A very good morning to you. The time is 10 o'clock on Wednesday, the 24th of December. Big day, Christmas Eve. We're live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Sophie Reaper and Cameron Walker.
I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
The Prime Minister uses his Christmas message to remind the country that the cost of living crisis is far from over. And while Sir Keir strikes a sober note, Kemi Badenoch opts for family, faith and festive cheer.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported me during my first year as Leader of the Opposition. It's been the biggest challenge of my life.
And it's a Christmas miracle for farmers as Sir Keir Starmer U-turns on the inheritance tax threshold for family farms, with many welcoming the decision.
A high cost that this U-turn has come at. So, you know, yes, we welcome it, but my goodness me, this government has made an absolute mess of this and shouldn't have taken this terrible decision in the first place.
Meanwhile, it's Christmas recess at Westminster, meaning MPs are officially off the clock until the new year. Lucky them. But many are asking whether such a long winter break is really appropriate given the state of this country.
The King breaks with tradition again, delivering his Christmas message from Westminster Abbey, focusing on faith, reflection and the idea of pilgrimage.
And shoppers have slammed the brakes on spending, with retail sales unexpectedly falling in the crucial run-up to Christmas.
And a stark reminder that Christmas is meant to be a time of togetherness. Yet Age UK warns around 1.5 million pensioners will spend Christmas Day alone.
Now, we've had hundreds of you get in touch, pretty much asking the same question. Why are you not playing Nigel Farage's Christmas message? Well, the last time we checked, he hasn't actually done one yet. So as soon as he does, I promise you, we'll bring it straight to you. But at the moment, all we've got is Kemi's, the Prime Minister's, and Ed Davies. And I think we've got John Swinney as well, the SNP leader. But no Nigel Farage yet. But as soon as it does, we'll play that.
But coming up on the show, we're going to be talking about MPs, aren't we?
Yes.
And that long old Christmas break they're going to be getting from the 18th of December to the 5th of January. Have you got that much time off, Cameron?
No, I've got about 2.5 days.
No, same.
Tomorrow, because my normal job is royal correspondent, I've got to do all the royal stuff at Sandringham and the King's speech. And then
Which will be nice, though.
It will be nice.
Yeah.
It's always a festive cheer. I mean, Andrew kind of slightly mars things a little bit, but I think the royal family are going to try and ignore that difficult uncle and just enjoy their day. And hopefully you are as well at home. Please send us pictures, what you're up to. Are you carving your Christmas turkey early? Are you preparing dinner? Are you opening presents doing the German tradition? gbnews.com/your say. But now it's your news headlines with Tatiana.
Thank you very much and good morning. The top stories. The Prime Minister has acknowledged Britain's cost of living struggles in his Christmas message and vowed that helping with the issue is his priority. Sir Keir Starmer also urged members of the public to each do our bit and reach out to friends, relatives and neighbours during the festive period.
I'd like to wish the whole country a very happy Christmas. Right now, all across the UK, people are travelling home to be with their loved ones. Children are bursting with excitement. Families are making the final preparations, wrapping presents, hanging stockings, rushing out for last-minute bits. It's a truly special time of year. I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch focused on motherhood and her excitement for next year.
Christmas is the most special time of year. A time for making merry, of course, seeing friends. But more than anything, Christmas is about family. One of the privileges of being a mother is watching my children grow up, and it happens so quickly. So this Christmas, I'm excited to spend lots of quality time with them. This time of year also makes me think about loved ones who are no longer with us, like my dad. I remember so many Christmases as a child, and that's why I'm building a tradition of Christmas with my children, something which I hope they will one day share with their children. They love presents and Father Christmas, but I teach them that Christmas is also about the birth of Christ. I grew up in a Methodist family. My husband and kids are Catholic, and we're keen to instill in the children the values that Christmas teaches, like giving being more important than receiving, like the importance of sacrifice and service. So to all of you working over Christmas, I want to say a huge thank you for keeping the country going.
Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey made the Norwegian spruce behind him the focus of his message. Sir Ed added that it made him think people standing together in tough times.
Now, this Christmas tree behind me gets a lot of abuse every year. The social media trolls who spread right-wing conspiracy theories like to compare it to the tree in New York City, in Warsaw and in Budapest. They say it is an example of our country's decline. And I have to admit, on the surface, it does look a little underwhelming, but it's also my favourite Christmas tree.
A photograph has been released by Buckingham Palace showing the King delivering his Christmas message again outside of traditional palace walls. This year, the annual address was filmed in the Lady Chapel inside Westminster Abbey, the second time the monarch has recorded it away from a royal residence. The palace has revealed the Abbey was chosen for the setting this year to reflect a major theme of the message, pilgrimage. In other news, a teenage British boy has reportedly been stabbed to death in Portugal. The country's criminal police said it's investigating the death by stabbing of both the boy and the alleged attacker. Local media have identified the boy as a British teenager, while Portuguese police believe the perpetrator was the former partner of the boy's mother. The mother was found showing signs of having been restrained and assaulted and was subsequently taken to the nearest hospital, police said in a statement. And Russell Brand is facing 2 further criminal charges, including 1 count of rape and 1 count of sexual assault, police have confirmed. The Crown Prosecution Service says the new charges relate to 2 additional women on top of 5 existing charges involving 4 women. Brand has already pleaded not guilty to all previous allegations, which followed reporting by dispatches in the Sunday Times. He's due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court in January, with a trial listed at Southwark Crown Court next June. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More in half an hour.
Thank you, Tatiana. The time is 10:07 and welcome to Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom on GB News with Cameron Walker and Sophie Reaper.
Indeed. Now, it's obviously Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Stating the obvious, of course. Big day for the royal family because, as you told me earlier, they will open their presents today, because tomorrow is all about church.
Yes, so they tend to do the German tradition, dating back to Prince Albert, who of course was married to Queen Victoria, and open a majority of their Christmas presents on Christmas Eve. Then, of course, tomorrow we'll have the nice Sandringham church service at 11 o'clock, so perhaps we'll see members of the royal family walk out and about, greet members of the public. And I remember over the last few years, because George, Charlotte and Louis, the Prince and Princess of Wales's 2 children, are old enough now, they actually receive more presents on Christmas Day from members of the public. There was this amazing photo last year of Prince Louis, he's only about 6 or 7, just like carrying as much chocolate and like bears and things as he possibly could. But of course, for the King, it's a very important day, Sophie, because he will be delivering his Christmas broadcast. It's the only speech that he delivers throughout the whole year that's not written in consultation with the government. It's just his words.
And there's something a bit different about this year, isn't it? Is it the second time he's broken from tradition?
Yes,
right?
yeah, so second time he's broken from tradition. So this is going to be the 4th Christmas broadcast of his reign since 2022, but the second one delivered outside of a royal residence. Last year was in Fitzrovia Chapel, which was a former hospital chapel, because, of course, yes, last year a lot of health struggles for both the King and the Princess of Wales. This year, Westminster Abbey, of all places. Now, you may be thinking, well, the royal connections, coronations, weddings and funerals and all the rest of it, but also it's a place of pilgrimage. It's where Edward the Confessor is buried, and he was the king who kind of refounded Westminster Abbey, and lots of people every October go and pay homage to his shrine. So we'll see what kind of Christmas message the King has in store. But you see the Christmas trees behind on your screen and behind the King. Guess what they were used for?
Oh, Cameron, you've put me on the spot.
I have put you on the spot.
I don't know. A film or something?
No, the Princess of Wales's carol service.
Oh, recycling?
Yes, so they've recycled the Christmas trees.
Very environmentally friendly.
Yes, they just moved them up the Abbey bit to the Ladies' Chapel, which is the bit of the Abbey closest to the Palace of Westminster. And yes, so the King wanted to reuse the Christmas trees that the Princess used for her carol service, which is being broadcast tonight.
Now, I know that, obviously, you're our fabulous royal correspondent on your day-to-day.
Yes.
And you've spent time, haven't you? You've covered things from Westminster Abbey before. Just give our viewers a sense of what it's like in there, how special it is.
Do you know, it's weird going in there. First of all, it looks much smaller in real life than it does on TV.
Really?
It's really, really small, but the history of the place is just amazing. The amount of kings and queens that have been crowned there, coronations, weddings, but also my favourite spot is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, because it's this beautiful kind of plaque on the floor outside the Great West Door, surrounded by poppies, and it's just a reminder every time you go in of the sacrifice that ordinary British soldiers made during the First and Second World War. So for me, it's not actually the royal connection to the Abbey; it's the service of our great warriors who serves in the armed forces.
It's quite poignant, Cameron.
It is
Lovely.
And of course, Christmas recess means that MPs are having a bit of an extended Christmas break until the new year. Lucky them.
Indeed, they're off the clock, which means the House of Commons will only be returning on the 5th of January. But is such a long winter break appropriate?
Well, we're joined now by the political commentator Sebastian Salek. Sebastian, good morning to you. I was about to say afternoon then. Good morning to you. Kemi Badenoch said in her Christmas message she thanks those who are having to work over Christmas. Well, she's not, and neither are the other MPs.
Well, I don't think that's quite fair. The job of being in Parliament is only part of the role of being an MP, of course. A lot of it happens in their constituencies where they're dealing with residents and their concerns. And, you know, I can say this as a councillor, that's the kind of work that never stops, regardless of what time of year it is, because there are always people who need your help. So I would hope that MPs are still hard at work in their constituencies, helping those people. But also, don't they deserve a bit of a break as well? Isn't it healthy to give MPs a bit of time where they can put all of that behind them and focus on their families and their Christmas celebrations, and then come back refreshed, ready to serve us anew in the new year?
I completely agree that some kind of break would probably be a good thing. Of course, they are just normal folk with families and friends and loved ones that they will, of course, want to see over the Christmas period. But we're not talking about a little break, are we? We're talking about from the 18th of December all the way through to the 5th of January. And that to me seems like quite an extended break, particularly when the government are going to make fairly large U-turns whilst MPs aren't sitting.
Well, again, backbenchers are going to be serving their constituents in their own constituencies. Ministers also aren't, I imagine, going to be taking a break either. They have business to do. They have work to do. The country still has to be run. We just won't see it. There won't be press releases dropping every day. There won't be MPs standing up in Parliament. But rest assured, it will be carrying on. But as I say, I would like them to take a bit of time off. I would like them to rest because I think it's the healthy thing to do. Whatever your job is, you deserve a bit of a break, especially over Christmas.
Particularly when it comes to the government ministers, Sebastian. Of course, we're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors, emergency service workers working right across the country. And there has been this criticism, particularly when it comes to Labour ministers, that they haven't, let's say, worked in the real world, a lot of them. Not many of them have worked in the private sector, in businesses. Do you think they can be seen as out of touch, not just Labour, but all MPs with the real world?
I'd be really careful about describing the real world as the private sector. It's very important. It drives a lot of growth. It's a big part of our economy. But I think that talks down those who work or have worked in the public sector. These are our doctors, our nurses, our civil servants, everybody else. And indeed, there are MPs from all sides of the House, I think, who still do work, who keep up their nursing qualifications or their medical qualifications by doing the odd shift in the hospital. And I think that's really valuable for their jobs as well. If you work in the NHS, even now, whilst you're being an MP, how much is that going to inform you on the state of the NHS, the nature of that work, and better equip you to be able to legislate for those people and for anyone who uses the health system? So I think that kind of crossover, really, really valuable to all of us as voters.
I just want to bring you back to something you just said a minute ago, Sebastian. You said that over the Christmas period, we perhaps won't be seeing press releases drop. And yet yesterday, we saw some really rather large news from the Labour government, didn't we? First of all, what did you make of that U-turn? And second of all, if the Labour government feel it's necessary to be making huge announcements like a U-turn on the inheritance tax on the 23rd of December, just 2 days before Christmas Day, is it wise that they're taking so much time off if they feel the need to be making such huge announcements during a time off?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, look, I don't see this as a U-turn in the way some others do. If you look at how much it's going to cost the government or raise for the government, it was going to be 500 million. Now we're looking at about 300 million. So it's more of an adjustment in the grand scheme of things. On the other hand, you're seeing half the number of farms affected as before. So it seems like a really good compromise where it's not going to cost as much or raise as much as we thought, but only by a small amount. But it is going to affect a lot of people in a positive way, which seems like a good balance to strike. Now, look, that press release was put out yesterday. It's quite unusual. I think a lot of the speculation is that it allows them then to table this as part of an amendment to the finance bill, and all of the very complicated sequencing of bill passing and amendments kind of works out because it's being announced now. I do expect this to roll on. I think this is going to be something that will be debated in Parliament. The questions will be asked on it, as they should. Anything the government does should come under proper scrutiny. So no, I I wouldn't see it as extreme as it is. There is still going to be a tax on farms, which I think is the right thing to do. They shouldn't be an exception. And you can still now, if both of your parents are farmers and that farm is your primary residence, under this new law, pass on up to £6 million tax-free, which is a huge amount of money. I think you'd agree for any of us.
Sebastian, the guest earlier was questioning the timing of this press release from the government about the farming inheritance tax changes. What do you think the Speaker would make of this announcement happening when MPs aren't sitting?
Yeah, look, I think the speakers always want to hear announcements made in the House of Commons, which is fair. The reality, though, is that that's not always going to be possible. If the theory around the timing is correct, and this is about getting something out before Christmas so that they can then table the motion to the finance bill, that just isn't possible because of recess. There was nowhere to make that announcement. So I would hope that on this occasion the Speaker would understand that, whilst upholding the principle that generally news should be broken in the Commons rather than anywhere else. I can understand why, as the Speaker, you'd be very hard on that point.
All right, political commentator Sebastian Selleck, thank you for joining us, and a Merry Christmas to you.
You too.
Merry Christmas, Sebastian. Now, time for a Great British giveaway now for a very, very Merry Christmas if you're to win this one. An incredible £85,000 in cash.
Oh, dreamy.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Absolutely. Now, Hayley Sparks has been on a magical trip to Lapland and has all those details you need if you want a chance to make that money yours.
This Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the fabulously festive Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what next year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You could find yourself on the adventure of a lifetime or just safe in the knowledge that next year is on us. £85,000 of tax-free cash really could be yours. Go on, give it a go, and Merry Christmas!
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Best of luck with that. And up next, CDs are making a return to Christmas lists as Gen Z, or Z, enjoy a retro renaissance. We'll be going through all of that and much more with Matthew Torbett and Reem Ibrahim. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News. Oh, what's going on with your elf? Oh, Mike, well, there's 2 elves on the shelves for those of you listening on the radio. We'll hear more about that next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
9:30.
It is indeed.
And as the new year approaches, we've got, for the very first time, our GB News charity calendar. It's on sale and 100% of the price. I should point out, actually, the pictures were taken by you and voted for by you because we've got so many entries. So you've made this. 100% of the profits go to our 2025 charity partner, which is the London Taxi Drivers Charity for Children. And that actually is also proudly supported by Her Majesty the Queen. Really, really lovely
But look, I'm
pictures.
just going to take... There's a... Oh, hold on a sec. There we go. Look, how lovely are those pictures?
It's really nice. It's what is most important is the fact that, as we say, 100% of the money is going to charity. If you pick one up at the GB News shop online, and the chairman of the Taxi Drivers Charity for London is Anthony Moore, and is here. It's great to see you.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about what the charity does.
We do several events a year. We take kids to the seaside as a group of taxis. So this year we had 80 taxis transferring around about 200 children. We went to the zoo this year, and so we've done that as an event. Everybody gives up their time. The taxi drivers just give up their time, all just so that the kids can have a good time. We've got our Christmas party, or the Mad Hatters party. That's in January. And we've got now 700 and... We've had to limit the numbers this year. We've got 720 children coming at the moment.
Wow.
But they will be entertained by singers, dancers. We've got the King's Welsh Guards turning up to give them the dimensions of the dance floor. So they're coming to do, in their full regalia, they hang around, hats on children, photographs. So, we do several things.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. The time is 10:22. This is Britain's Newsroom with Cameron Walker and Sophie Reaper.
And we're now joined by former Labour advisor Matthew Torbett and head of media at the IEA, Reem Ibrahim, in the studio. Happy Christmas Eve, guys.
Happy Christmas Eve. Very good, very excited for Christmas.
I was going to say, excited, can't wait.
And Matthew, I absolutely love your Christmas jumper with the bear on it. It looks very, very festive indeed. What's not so festive is the front page of The Telegraph. Well, we think it's Andrew who wants some inappropriate friends.
Yes, I don't think we do know, but it was signed off with the letter A and some kisses. Emails asking for inappropriate friends. There's been further emails, discussions around that he'd lost his valet that he'd had since the age of 2, didn't know what to do with his life, who was going to look after me, woe is me and all that at Christmas time. And I think actually what this shows is the very prescient decision, it seems, by the King to make the decisions that he has in removing his titles and other things, because there was a source quoted in the Telegraph this morning that said this isn't even the half of it, unfortunately. It appears there'll be more to come, whether that be on further releases or otherwise. But very grim news.
Yeah, and of course there's no suggestion that Andrew's done anything wrong from the specific documents that have been released in the Epstein files over the last 24 hours or so. But it's not a great look, is it, Reem? What can the royal family do about it? They've kind of done all they can do.
They have, and they've stripped him of his titles, and I don't believe he's going to be joining them for Christmas either. So there are sort of separate issues here. This doesn't really tell us anything new. We sort of already knew a lot about the fact that Andrew Mountbatten had been involved, or at least was going to the island. Of course, we have no idea if any actual wrongdoing occurred, but we do know from the various letters that he actually lied to the public when he said that he hadn't had further contact with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that he actually did. And of course, I mean, as Matthew's just said, we know that this particular letter was signed off with the letter A, came from Balmoral, where of course he was residing. Obviously, we don't know what's happened, but I think the majority of people watching can put 2 and 2 together.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to treat people as though they're stupid. We know exactly what was being said here. Just for the context of it, though, find me inappropriate friends. I mean, what does that mean?
Phrasing, it
just gives me shudders. Yeah.
But then another email afterwards says, well, I found you appropriate friends. I think the inappropriate friends could be inferred to you as a joke, or of course it could be something far more sinister. But then also we have like two-legged sightseeing and intelligent, pretty, fun girls from good families who are discreet. I mean, it's just so tricky.
And from previous letters, there were phrases like, we're going to play some more, with the Twebs. Those kind of phrases clearly is sort of the environment that they're in. But I was talking to Matthew about this in the break, and I was just saying, is this really a shock? You give, very, very seedy people lots and lots of money. Of course, they spend it on, like, sex and drugs, obviously.
Well, Matthew, what do you think, if there's any kind of extra things that are going to ruin Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's reputation anymore?
I think possibly. I mean, I believe there's only about a third of the Epstein documents that have come out, and we're talking about 330,000 at the moment. So even there's 1 million documents potentially yet to come out. I always just, I mean, even that language, that is not how normal people speak.
No.
Very odd, unsettling, seedy, whatever you want to call it. And it just comes back to my theories I've had for many years through growing up, that poshos are weird. And that is it. Sorry to any poshos at home.
And they do weird
They are very weird. Yeah, no, totally. And it's less said the better.
Although I would point out that Andrew's nephew, William, is very down-to-earth indeed. I think perhaps it perhaps has died with Andrew's reputation. And of course, there's no suggestion, as I said, just to reiterate, that Andrew's done anything wrong from the specific emails that have been released over the next 24 hours. But Reem, ministers warn councils against adopting a 4-day week for staff. What's going on here?
It's absolutely insane that certain councils are currently doing this. I mean, we already sort of knew that this was the case in some councils, specifically across the country, where what they have allowed to occur is, you know, they say the same amount of work must be done, but you can come into the office for 4 days a week. Now, this has been trialled in certain private sector companies where the 4-day week has worked and has shown that there have been more efficiencies in people's productivity, but a lot of it is self-reported, people marking their own homework. So if someone says, you know, you can have, 4 days at work, 3 days at home, and you're told, how do you feel? Well, yes, I think I've been much more productive. Of course you're going to say that. So, of course, some of this has been rolled out in local government. There have been some government ministers that have said, this can look quite bad, or of course there is no real hardcore evidence that it has any impact whatsoever on people's productivity. Now, personally, I think if a private company wants to say you can be in work for 4 days, be off for 3 days, that's fine, that's private money. When it's taxpayer money, when it's our money being spent on these civil servants in local government that are being paid pretty well, especially when you consider their long-term pensions, their benefits that they receive. I mean, my friends over at the Taxpayers Alliance do some pretty great work on looking into how much money these local councils are receiving. They do something called the Town Hall Rich List. In Guildford, somebody within 1 year received £600,000 in remuneration.
Gosh.
£600,000. And the fact that some of those people will be allowed to work for 4 days and 3 days off, I think is absolutely insane, especially when the rest of the country are going into work very early every single day to earn their money.
Matthew, just to play devil's advocate then, what about if we had a situation where they did 4 days, but the extra hours were added on? So, for example, instead of a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, they maybe did 9 till 7, Monday to Thursday. Would that appease people, do you think?
In many cases, that's what workplaces do with 4-day weeks. I think, to Reem's argument, great work if you can get it. Get me down the local authority. I'll have it. No problem at all.
A very Merry Christmas to you.
I think we do work some of the longest hours in Europe, possibly the world. It isn't going to work everywhere, we know this. I think to offer people the idea of some level of flexibility, you're never going to get this in the health service, for instance, that's a 24-hour service and instances like that. I think if you can, fine. I think if you want to make up the hours in the day and you do longer days, that also shows to work. We've seen pilots in Iceland, the UK, US, all over, and everyone seems to report some cases where people have gone in, not just marking their own homework, higher productivity, all the same, less sick days, which obviously costs us a fortune. And actually, with regards to the money, you yourselves and the Taxpayers Alliance will be very pleased to know that this council in particular have saved hundreds of thousands by doing this, apparently.
Apparently, according to who, though? According to the council themselves?
Yeah, but they put forward their own budget. You can say they're marking their own budget if you want, but the best send in the auditors in that case.
Well, the problem is that they did raise council taxes, as most councils had across the country. They're increasing public spending. Now, as we know, a lot of local government expenditure is sort of earmarked by national government, so most of it actually goes on adult social care. I mean, we're talking about, more than 50% in some cases goes on looking after older and sicker people. And unfortunately, as we see that kind of money rising as a result of the increased expenditure and, of course, as a result of the ageing population, this kind of stuff just feels even more ridiculous. No, it does.
We're getting older and sicker. How do you not get sicker? Work less. Let's have people in work less. Don't worry about it.
And we'll all be in sunshine and rainbows.
Absolutely.
I think the two of you are going to have to agree to disagree on this one, Matthew.
Well, I will say it does sound good, doesn't it? That would be nice.
That
but
would be
I don't
nice.
think it's in our future.
No, I don't think we don't really have that in our line of work, I'm afraid.
No.
Matthew Reem, you'll be back with us next hour. But for now, it's time for your news with Tatiana.
Cameron, thank you very much. The top stories. The Prime Minister has acknowledged Britain's cost of living struggles in his Christmas message and vowed that helping with the issue is his priority.
I'd like to wish the whole country a very happy Christmas. Right now, all across the UK, people are travelling home to be with their loved ones. Children are bursting with excitement. Families are making the final preparations, wrapping presents, hanging stockings, rushing out for last-minute bits. It's a truly special time of year. I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
A photograph has been released by Buckingham Palace showing the King delivering his Christmas message, again outside of traditional palace walls. This year, the annual address was filmed in the Lady Chapel inside Westminster Abbey, the second time the monarch has recorded it away from the royal residence. And in other news, a teenage British boy has reportedly been stabbed to death in Portugal. The country's criminal police said it's investigating the death by stabbing of both the boy and the alleged attacker. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more in half an hour.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Thank you, Tatiana. Now, up next, shoppers have slammed the brakes on spending. We're asking, is Christmas too expensive? This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A much drier and brighter day to come, and Christmas Day also looking pretty decent. We've got easterly winds, however, and that is the key feature of the weather. It's going to make it feel much colder during today and the next couple of days, especially across southern and eastern parts of the UK. But those easterlies bringing in drier air as well as colder, so helping to lift the cloud, helping to break it up nicely into the afternoon. Plenty of sunshine up and down the UK, with a couple of exceptions. Some eastern areas will hold on to the cloud, but temperatures of 5 to 7 degrees, colder than it's been through December so far, and when you add on the strength of the wind, feeling even colder than that. Not quite as windy across Scotland, and under plenty of clear skies as we go into Christmas Eve night. Well, it's going to be a frosty one for many. We keep some cloud in the far north northwest, the odd spot of rain. Otherwise, it's dry with clear spells. Likewise for Northern Ireland, Western England, Wales, clear starry skies overnight, and a frost soon setting in for many places. But areas of cloud will still feed in from the North Sea into eastern parts and some central parts of the country overnight. It will come and go and perhaps prevent a frost in many locations. The breeze also keeping things stirred up, and that breeze strengthening, if anything, by dawn. Risk of gales around exposed southern and southeastern parts of the UK, and that wind making it feel cold even if it's not frosty everywhere. So bear in mind that wind if you are heading out, doing outdoor activities, Christmas Day swims, walks, etc. on Christmas Day. It is going to make it feel cold. Also cold enough perhaps for the odd sleety shower in the far southwest, most likely over Bodmin. But for the vast majority, it's a dry and bright Christmas day, albeit feeling cold in the wind.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across our social media platforms. We're truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The A83 in Loch Gilphead is closed both ways due to emergency roadworks, with limited access via Mancy Bray, Union Street and Lawn Street for light local traffic only. A fire has caused lane closures on the A19 southbound between the A174 and A67 junctions in Stockton on Tees. The M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 in Surrey is delayed by up to 20 minutes due to a collision, with normal conditions expected by 11 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is experiencing disruptions between Coventry and Rugby. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A very good morning to you. The time is 10:36 and this is Britain's Newsroom.
And happy Christmas Eve. And has Christmas got too expensive though? Because a third of Brits say they're worried as the average spend per person hits £550.
So as prices rise, how are families coping this year?
Well, we're joined now by financial expert Jasmine Birtles. Jasmine, good morning to you. Why has everything gone up so much in price? Because I think people across the country are really feeling the pinch this festive season.
Yes, they are. And prices have been going up, particularly since the beginning of COVID. If you have a look at the inflation chart, you'll see that from 2020 to 2025, it's like a hockey stick. You know, the prices have really rocketed. So it's very largely to do with COVID, but still prices are going up. I mean, we keep being told that inflation is coming down a little, 3.2% apparently. But it doesn't feel like that when you go to the shops. When you go to the supermarket, you come out and think, I'm sure I would have paid half the amount that I paid for this just a couple of years ago. And you're probably right.
Jasmine, let me ask you, I read a really interesting statistic this morning, and that is that now a quarter, so 25% of festive shoppers will not be buying some of their presents they intend to give until after Christmas Day. So, of course, things like the Boxing Day sales, they're going to try and bag themselves a bargain and then hand the gift over to their loved ones then. Is that a really astute way to save a bit of money over the festive period?
Yes, it is, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, I feel conflicted because I'm really talking much of the time to consumers, but I'm also concerned about business. And I'm sure you saw it a couple of weeks ago, the sales started. I mean, they're supposed to start, as you say, Boxing Day. Now with online, they start today, actually, this evening. A lot of them start then. But the fact that we've had sales on, and I've seen up to 40% off, up to 60% off already before Christmas, that shows that businesses are having a problem. And certainly everyone, including myself, thinking, well, I'll wait until the Boxing Day sales, because if they're 40% off now, they're going to be a lot more then. And I think it makes perfect sense for people to say to friends and family, I'm going to get you something after Christmas when it's cheaper so you can get more. I mean, everybody understands that. And I think even people who are quite well off are feeling poor at the moment. And they are looking at the sales and waiting to see just how much things are going to go down by, which is great for us, the consumers, or better, not good for businesses.
And Jasmine, of course, presents are just one part of Christmas. Another big staple for most people on Christmas Day is the Christmas dinner. And you can't really, or most people wouldn't really want to delay that. And yet, according to the latest Which report, festive turkeys have gone up by up to £14.95 in some supermarkets. So how can people save on their Christmas dinners?
Well, it is a tough one. I mean, what a lot of people are doing are that they are eschewing the traditional turkey and going for something else, maybe chicken, frankly. A lot of people prefer chicken anyway, and they're thinking about what they actually like to eat and going for that. There are quite a lot of people, if they've got family and friends coming over, they're asking them to bring something, you know, to bring the drinks, somebody else to bring the pudding, somebody else to bring some side dishes. That, I think, is a really nice way of doing it. I have heard of people asking for money from friends and family. I mean, you know, if you've got friends and family that are happy with that, then go for it. Me, I'd rather ask for things. I just think asking for money is a bit naff. But, you know, if it works with your family, then do it. And then, of course, this afternoon, in many supermarkets, there will be quite a lot of yellow stickers. I'm sort of planning on popping into my local supermarket round about 4 o'clock, because they close at 6, because I think there's going to be quite a few bargains there. So if you've got the time and the energy, pop down to your supermarket at 4 o'clock this afternoon, see what there is.
You know what's really interesting, Jasmine, actually? I've just looked this up on my phone. I got a text from my dad yesterday. One of his best friends went to Sainsbury's yesterday. Other supermarkets are, of course, available. And he managed to get a 4-kilogram turkey for £12.92. Now, that
is a bargain.
Now, of course, it's a risk, because you say you're going to nip down today. Of course, you might turn up and you might find that the thing that you're looking for isn't there. But do you think it's worth the risk? Should our viewers be doing this?
Well, I am. I have to say, no, I'm not risking it, to be fair. I have already got some food, and I've got quite enough food. But I am very interested to see what sort of bargains. I mean, for example, I've been seeing some lovely bunches of flowers in the supermarkets and thinking, oh, those are nice. That price, I don't think so. But I'm sure, this is in the back of my head, I'm sure there's going to be some really good offers on those this afternoon. So there'll be flowers. I'm sure there will be turkeys. I've definitely in the past seen turkeys at stupid money at this time of by this afternoon. Stuffing, maybe not the vegetables so much, but maybe some of the green vegetables. Are they going to last for the next day or 2 days? Possibly not. Milk, all sorts of things, cream, which is not going to last, particularly if your supermarket's going to be closed for the next 2 days. I think that's a good one, because there's going to be a lot that won't be able to survive that amount of time.
Jasmine, do you ever see a point in the near future, let's say next Christmas or the Christmas after that, where there won't be quite so many British people feeling the pinch and they can actually do what they used to do at Christmas and just have a good time? I
hope so. Yes. I mean, to be honest, I think we're going to have an interesting 2026. We are seeing our money devalue, and I say this because we're seeing gold and silver go up a lot in value. When gold and silver goes up, and I've been saying to people for a few years, buy gold, buy silver, buy gold, buy silver. When we see that, what that really means is that fiat currencies, in other words, pounds, dollars, yen, euros, those are devaluing. And so as our fiat currencies devalue, that means that we can buy less and less. So we have to have more of those actual pounds and dollars and euros to buy what we need. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment, until things are sorted out in some way.
Well, financial expert Jasmine Birtles, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and a Merry Christmas to you. Hope you have a fabulous day tomorrow.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. And great advice from Jasmine as well. Going to your supermarket at 4 o'clock today to get the bargains just before Christmas Day.
You know what? A lot of viewers have been getting in touch about this. Neil says, I bought my bronze free-range turkey last year for half price after Christmas Day. And I know quite a few people do this, who buy their turkey and then they freeze it. And I'm not sure about how long a turkey actually can last in the freezer, but if that is possible, why not? Why not nip down to your supermarket on the 27th?
But what are you having on Christmas Day then, if you're not buying your turkey till the 27th?
Turkey. You've got to get in advance. You've got your 2024 turkey this year, Cameron, 2025 and 2026. You've got to be organised if you're doing that, I think. That's
too much organisation for me. Although on New Year's Eve...
I don't have the freezer space.
No, I don't have a freezer space. But on New Year's Eve, I'm actually doing something that Jasmine was saying, where all of us as a group of friends are having a house party, and one group is going to bring the starter, one the main, one the pudding, one the cocktails. Yeah, so we all chip in a little bit, so it's not as expensive for the host.
I think that's much nicer than saying, OK, everyone give me £20 or whatever the cost might be. I think it's just more collaborative if everyone can. And you know what? If, you don't like someone's cooking, there's other courses to be had.
Very good point.
What are you providing?
Well, I'm doing the mains. So I'm doing lasagna, garlic bread, salad. This is for New Year's Eve, by the way. New Year's Eve. This isn't for Christmas Day. Don't you worry. I'll be on the sprouts and the chestnuts and the pancetta tomorrow. That's my job. Anyway, let us know how you're saving money this Christmas Day and festive period. Up next, we'll be reflecting on the important people who, despite all of the festivities, will of course still be working on Christmas. An estimated 1.1 million people. But first, if you're in some holiday sun, Sophie.
Who isn't? We were just talking about just that in the break, weren't we?
Yeah, Boxing Day sales.
Both off on holiday next year.
Yeah, Boxing Day sales. Anyway, holiday sun. Here's your European forecast.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The colder weather the UK is experiencing on Christmas Day extends into Iberia. It's unsettled across the central part of the Mediterranean. Also some rain through Turkey. But Greece looking mostly fine. Sunny spells here. The rain and wind through the central Med affecting the Balearics, heading into the south of France and Italy later. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal, but feeling cooler, and it's going to stay on the cool side here into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Well, welcome back to Britain's Newsroom on GB News. Time is 10:49.
Indeed. For many people, Christmas is a day to unwind and celebrate with loved ones. However, for an estimated 1.1 million people who are expected to be working, December 25th is business as usual.
Yes, an estimated 440,000 workers in health and social care are expected to head to work this Christmas alongside thousands of chefs, catering assistants and 18,000 waiting staff.
Well, joining us now is co-host of the Nowhere Office podcast, Stefan Stern. Stefan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. 1.1 million of us working on Christmas Day. That's quite a figure, about 1 in 70 of us working. Do you think that that's grown in recent years, or has it always been the case?
Well, I think unseen, there have been, essential workers, emergency workers, always on call. Some journalists too, and newsrooms may not be regarded as essential by everybody. But yes, a lot of people have been doing this work unseen all the time. We're probably better at counting it now than we used to, and probably have a better sense of it. Since COVID, of course, we were all introduced to that concept of essential workers. We had a national emergency and crisis, and we came out and clapped for them. Perhaps we've begun, unfortunately, to forget about the important work that some people are doing all the time, including on Christmas Day.
And of course, it is very important to remember all of that. We've got armed forces serving around the world as well. That's another point to make. But do you think over the last 100 years or so, Christmas in a lot of households in the United Kingdom perhaps isn't as important as it once was? So therefore, the idea of working on Christmas Day isn't as much of a taboo?
There may be something in that. I think really what we're talking about is this famous word flexibility. We hear that a lot from employers and customers. We want businesses to be there for us when we need them. We're used to 24/7 online access. Does mean, even in this age of automation and AI, it does mean human beings somewhere along the line being plugged in, turning up for work and being at the other end of a phone line. So I think that is a growing phenomenon. You're perhaps both too young to remember days when Sunday was, in the old language, special and supermarkets weren't open on Sunday. There wasn't trading. But we've got this 24/7, 7 days a week working now. And I think that's really the phenomenon that we're dealing with here mainly.
Of course, the other thing to mention, Stefan, is that most people, I would say, tend to get at least double pay if they work on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, for example. Is that a driving factor, do you think? Perhaps considering how the state of the situation, the cost of living crisis that we currently find ourselves in, that people actually would rather put Christmas on the back burner and just earn a bit more money instead?
Well, that is part of it. I mean, this is flexibility for the employee too, we hope. As we know, there'll be a lot of work on the railways over Christmas and New Year. And yes, indeed, people will be getting, I think, quite well paid for doing those shifts, and rightly so. And don't forget, of course, Christmas is a difficult time for quite a lot of people, whether they've got family or not. And actually, a well-paid shift somewhere, rather than dealing with long-standing family tensions and issues, might be quite an attractive option for some other people too. So, yeah, flexibility works when it's flexibility for everybody. That's really what we want to see. And if people want to work Christmas Day and are able to and get paid well for it, then good for them.
Stefan, have you ever experienced working on Christmas Day?
No, I don't think I have. And in fact, even now, being here talking to you does keep me out of the kitchen, which goes down very well with my wife, who is doing the real work for today and tomorrow. And yes, I will be on hand to do sort of low-skill tasks.
Yes.
Adam Smith, you know, talked about the division of labour in the factory, and that's very much what we do here. I do the simple low-skill stuff, and my wife does the difficult bits.
Yes, I suspect that's going to be replicated right across the country.
Absolutely.
Stefan, thank you so much for joining us, and a Merry Christmas to you.
And to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Do you divvy up tasks on Christmas Day?
My sister will be doing the starter, my mum's doing the pudding, and I am doing the main.
Oh.
As is tradition.
Lovely.
And my dad will just relax because he does the cooking in their household most of the year round. So.
Well, that is another point, isn't it? I suppose work doesn't necessarily mean going to work. It is having to host a load of people who perhaps are coming over to your house, cooking a Christmas dinner as well.
But I will say I'm excited to spend Christmas with my family this year because I was presenting on Christmas Day last year.
Oh, were you?
Yes. So I'm getting a year off this year.
Oh, lovely.
Very excited.
Well, let us know what you're up to for Christmas. GBNews.com/your say. But now it's time for the weather update.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A much drier and brighter day to come, and Christmas Day also looking pretty decent. We've got easterly winds, however, and that is the key feature of the weather. It's going to make it feel much colder during today and the next couple of days, especially across southern and eastern parts of the UK. But those easterlies bringing in drier air as well as colder, so helping to lift the cloud, helping to break it up nicely into the afternoon. Plenty of sunshine up and down the UK, with a couple of exceptions. Some eastern areas will hold on to the cloud, but temperatures of 5 to 7 degrees, colder than it's been through December so far, and when you add on the strength of the wind, feeling even colder than that. Not quite as windy across Scotland, and under plenty of clear skies as we go into Christmas Eve night. Well, it's going to be a frosty one for many. We keep some cloud in the far north-northwest, the odd spot of rain. Otherwise, it's dry with clear spells. Likewise for Northern Ireland, Western England, Wales, clear starry skies overnight and a frost soon setting in for many places. But areas of cloud will still feed in from the North Sea into eastern parts and some central parts of the country overnight. It will come and go and perhaps prevent a frost in many locations. The breeze also keeping things stirred up, and that breeze strengthening, if anything, by dawn. Risk of gales around exposed southern and southeastern parts of the UK, and that wind making it feel cold even if it's not frosty everywhere. So bear in mind that wind if you are heading out, doing outdoor activities, Christmas Day swims, walks, etc. on Christmas Day. It is going to make it feel cold. Also cold enough perhaps for the odd sleety shower in the far southwest, most likely over Bodmin. But for the vast majority, it's a dry and bright Christmas day, albeit feeling cold in the wind.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
This Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. And we've come to the fabulously festive Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. £85,000 of tax-free cash really could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning, it's 11 o'clock on Wednesday, the 24th of December, aka Christmas Eve, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Cameron Walker and Sophie Reaper.
I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
The Prime Minister uses his Christmas message to remind the country that the cost of living crisis is far from over. And while Sir Keir strikes a sober note, Kemi Badenoch opts for family, faith and festive cheer.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported me during my first year as Leader of the Opposition. It's been the biggest challenge of my life.
And a Christmas miracle for farmers as Sir Keir Starmer U-turns on the inheritance tax threshold for family farms, with many welcoming the decision.
High cost that this U-turn has come at. So, yes, we welcome it, but my goodness me, this government has made an absolute mess of this and shouldn't have taken this terrible decision in the first place.
It's Christmas recess at Westminster, meaning MPs are officially off the clock until the new year. Well, many are asking whether such a long winter break is really appropriate, given the state of the country. And the King breaks with tradition again, delivering his Christmas message from Westminster Abbey, focusing on faith, reflection and the idea of pilgrimage. And a stark reminder this Christmas Eve that this time of year is meant to be a time of togetherness. Yet Age UK warns around 1.5 million pensioners will spend Christmas Day alone. And spare thoughts for struggling pubs this Christmas as the industry battles post-budget blues with the perfect storm of rising costs and a lack of customers, leaving boozers on the brink.
It's Christmas Eve and pubs around the country are hoping for a festive boost following the budget. We're here at the Black Horse pub in Wakefield and we'll be speaking to a landlord later on about how much trade he'll be getting this Christmas.
Well, we'll be joined by the lovely Anna Riley in just a little while, won't we? We'll be doing a festive cheers with her. But what do you think of time spent in the pub over Christmas? Do you want to spend any time there?
Do you know, I do sometimes on Christmas Eve, and I think I probably will this afternoon as well. But for me, it's a sense of community, especially if you don't have a family to go to on Christmas Day. It's a really good place to just go and meet people and chat over a pint. What could be better? Very, great British tradition.
And I imagine the atmosphere as well. On Christmas Eve, the countdown is on. Everyone's finished work. Oh, well, most people have finished work. 1.1 million haven't.
Yes.
But most people finished work. The atmosphere must just be electric.
Yeah, but of course it is bittersweet because the budget has, according to landlords, really hampered their efforts to keep their businesses afloat. And there are hundreds of pubs across the country really, really struggling this festive season. And in fact, many of them have been saying, business hasn't really picked up until very close to the Christmas period, where usually it would be much earlier on in December.
Yeah, I would imagine that's exactly what we're going to hear from that landlord joining Anna Riley later on in the hour. But we'd love to hear what you think about this. Send your views and comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. But first, here's your news with the fabulous Tatiana Sanchez.
Sophie, thank you very much. The top stories. The Prime Minister has acknowledged Britain's cost of living struggles in his Christmas message and vowed that helping with the issue is his priority. Sir Keir Starmer also urged members of the public to each do our bit and reach out to friends, relatives and neighbours during the festive period.
I'd like to wish the whole country a very happy Christmas. Right now, all across the UK, people are travelling home to be with their loved ones. Children are bursting with excitement. Families are making the final preparations, wrapping presents, hanging stockings, rushing out for last-minute bits. It's a truly special time of year. I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch focused on motherhood and her excitement for next year.
One of the privileges of being a mother is watching my children grow up, and it happens so quickly. So this Christmas, I'm excited to spend lots of quality time with them. This time of year also makes me think about loved ones who are no longer with us, like my dad. I remember so many Christmases as a child, and that's why I'm building a tradition of Christmas with my children, something which I hope they will one day share with their children. They love presents and Father Christmas, but I teach them that Christmas is also about the birth of Christ. I grew up in a Methodist family. My husband and kids are Catholic, and we're keen to instill in the children the values that Christmas teaches.
Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey made the Norwegian spruce behind him the focus of his message. Sir Ed Davey says it made him think of people standing together in tough times.
Now, this Christmas tree behind me gets a lot of abuse every year. The social media trolls who spread right-wing conspiracy theories like to compare it to the tree in New York City, in Warsaw, and in Budapest. They say it is an example of our country's decline. And I have to admit, on the surface, it does look a little underwhelming, but it's also my favourite Christmas tree.
A photograph has been released by Buckingham Palace showing the King delivering his Christmas message, again outside of traditional palace walls. This year, the annual address was filmed in the Lady Chapel inside Westminster Abbey, the second time the monarch has recorded it away from a royal residence. The palace has revealed the Abbey was chosen for the setting this year to reflect a major theme of the message: pilgrimage. In other news, a teenage British boy has reportedly been stabbed to death in Portugal. The country's criminal police said it's investigating the death by stabbing of both the boy and the alleged attacker. Local media have identified the boy as a British teenager, while Portuguese police believe the perpetrator was the former partner of the boy's mother. The mother was found showing signs of having been restrained and assaulted and was subsequently taken to the nearest hospital. And England captain Ben Stokes has thrown a protective arm around his team and pledged his support for under-fire opener Ben Duckett. The tourists have already surrendered the urn after going 3-0 down, and their build-up to the Boxing Day test has been beset by reports of excessive drinking on their mid-series trip to Noosa, within hours of managing director Rob Key announcing he would be investigating the squad's alcohol intake on the trip. Unverified footage emerged on social media appearing to show an inebriated Duckett in a tense exchange with members of the public, speaking for the first time since the England and Wales Cricket Board issued a statement reiterating its high expectations of behaviour. Ben Stokes said his priority as skipper was shielding his players away from a growing glare of scrutiny.
My main concern right now was my players. How I handle this moment right now is the most important thing to me. This kind of stuff is very, I don't know if close to me is the right wording, but something that I have first-hand experience of what this can, how it can affect people.
And those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more news for me in half an hour.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom on GB News with Cameron Walker and Sophie Reaper.
Yes, let's see what you've been saying. You can obviously send in your views to gbnews.com/yoursay. Lots of you getting in touch about working on Christmas Day.
Yeah, they certainly are. Samantha, good morning to you, Samantha. She says that my nephew works for a delivery company, a food delivery company, and he has to work Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and New Year's Day. Oh, poor nephew for Samantha there. George, who is from North Wales, he said, during my 14 years at sea in the Merchant Navy, I think I only had one Christmas at home. And when I became a pig farmer, the pigs still had to be looked after every day of the year. That's the point, isn't it? All the farmers, of course, still have to look after all of their livestock.
Still got everything to keep care of, yeah. Caroline says she worked many Christmases as her job in the NICU in the hospital. Loved it, loved the parents and all the little babies struggling to survive. Made many knitted toys for them. Was making things, was made by her 5-year-old, by her lively nana, taught her how to knit.
Oh, that's
such
so
a lovely
sweet.
one.
It's really,
and you know
really
what?
sweet.
It's so nice to hear that our nurses, our doctors, our surgeons, all those people who are working on Christmas Day to look after us, our police, men and women, our firefighters, all of those people who take time away from their friends and family. It's so lovely to hear from Caroline there saying that she loved doing that and that she got to spend time with families who needed her on that day. That's really special to hear that. Thank you, Caroline. Merry Christmas.
A sense of fulfilment. Thank you, Caroline. And Eve actually says spare a thought for farmers. So we're getting a big farmer theme here. Especially livestock farmers or anyone working with animals. Every day is a working day. It makes no matter if it's Christmas, Easter, Saturday or Sunday. Animals do not know that.
And this is actually a really interesting one as well, just in from Nicholas, just quickly. For some, their workmates are their family.
Yeah.
So,
that is true.
You know, for a lot of people, we're hearing from our guest in the previous hour about, you know, going into work and, you know, perhaps you want to avoid family drama,
Yeah.
whatever that might be, that going to spend time with your workmates, that could be the best Christmas you could imagine.
Absolutely. And GB News here, we are a family, and you've always got us. And do keep us sending in your thoughts.
That was an excellent segue,
Thank
Cameron.
you.
Well done.
But do, honestly, keep sending your thoughts and views to us, gbnews.com/your say.
Now, shall we talk about some politics?
Yeah, if we must.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Christmas recess, so it's still on the Christmas spirit, which means your MP is off the clock until the new year.
Yes, the House of Commons will only return on the 5th of January, but is such a long winter break appropriate?
Well, we're joined now by Reform UK leader of Kent County Council, Lyndon Kemcairn. Lyndon, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and a Merry Christmas Eve to you. Now, we know that our MPs will be off from the 18th of December all the way through to the 5th of January. Very simple question to start off with. Is that too long?
Well, I think you have to look at the state of the country. I mean, this Labour government has made such a horlicks of everything. They've been in power, not even 2 years, and already the country is falling apart at the seams, or at least that's how it seems to those people not in the Westminster bubble. Now, let's look at this year. We've had over 40,000 illegal migrants land on my shores here in Kent. 40,000, and those are just the ones we know about. And we know along the Kent coast that many more dinghies pull up and people evaporate into the night without anyone doing any kind of checks. That's the first thing that's gone wrong. And I think if MPs were really serious about their job, which is, of course, keeping their own citizens safe, that's a government's priority, or at least it should be, I think they should be working hard to maybe secure our borders, or at least try and find some sort of solution to this invasion, which has just got worse and worse since Labour came to power. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is everybody is feeling poorer. That's because we've got a Chancellor who is clearly not on top of her brief. I don't think she deserves any time off. I think she should be made to work all throughout the Christmas period to try and put right some of the terrible wrongs that she's inflicted on the population since being the worst Chancellor in the history of chancellors. We're in this terrible situation of fiscal drag. Now, that might sound like a fun cross-dressing party game, but it's not. Fiscal drag means that more and more of us have been dragged into paying the top rate of tax. That is the fault of this government. So I think there are so many things going wrong. I think that Labour MPs should be working this Christmas to try and put it right.
And Lyndon, what are you, as leader of Kent County Council, and your fellow councillors going to be doing to support the people of Kent over this festive period?
Well, supporting the people of Kent, of course, Kent is a very large county. It's the largest county, and we have a huge number of farmers, agricultural workers and suppliers, and horticultural workers and landowners here in Kent. So we've been really, really pushing the cause of the beleaguered farmers really hard. So yesterday, it was something of a nice pre-Christmas surprise when the government did yet another U-turn and decided that instead of it being £1 million threshold for paying inheritance tax on family farms, it would go up to £2.5 million. Now, it's nowhere near enough, of course. We don't think in Reform that anybody should be paying inheritance tax when you inherit your family farm business, because, of course, that is probably one of the few bonuses that farmers used to have. You know, the fact they could pass on their acreage and their farming ancestry to their descendants. And Labour came in and ruined that. Of course, they're also launching an attack on the rural communities in the form of banning trail hunting. Again, so here in Reform in Kent, we are absolutely 100% on the side of our farmers, and we'll continue to speak up for them.
Absolutely, and we're going to be doing the same here at GB News, Lyndon. But just obviously for some balance, they have made this step down now on the inheritance tax, and a lot of farmers, we've been speaking to some this morning, a lot of them have welcomed that decision. Of course, it's perhaps questionable the timing of this decision, but is it not something that they've at least made a start?
Yes, but Sophie, they've made a start. But the trouble is, farmers have had over a year of absolute misery as they thought they were going to have to prepare for somehow, leaving their families when they died with a terrible, terrible tax burden, which would have left their children with no option but to sell off parts of the farm, parts of the land, machinery. And of course, as soon as you start selling off parcels of land in a farm, it becomes unviable. So basically, I saw it as nothing more than a sort of land grab by this dreadful Labour government. So farmers have had a year of misery. And when I've been speaking to landowners and farmers, I've heard so many tales of farmers who are actually thinking of ending their own lives before April next year so that their families wouldn't be left with this terrible dilemma on how to try and save the family business, which, let's not forget, sometimes these farms have been in families for generations, and they were suddenly faced with this punitive tax, which would have meant them having to sell off parts of their dear family farm in order to pay this dreadful and unfair tax that had been foisted upon them. So yes, Labour has caved. They've done a U-turn. I suppose it's better late than never. But really, did they have to inflict over a year of misery on these people who actually work so hard, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, to put food on our plates? It's really not fair, is it?
And the government would say that, of course, they've listened and that's why they have responded to farmers. But Lyndon, we've had a number of viewers get in touch this morning with the same question, and I wonder if you would be able to shed some light on it. We've been playing Christmas messages from Sir Keir Starmer, Kemi Badenoch, and Ed Davey and other politicians. As far as we're aware, Nigel Farage hasn't put out a video Christmas message. Do you know if he's planning to?
I don't know. I'd be surprised if he didn't, because obviously Nigel is one of the best political communicators in the country. So I imagine a Christmas message from him will be very, very welcome. I thought Ed Davey was very odd, wasn't he? He managed to shoehorn in a reference to the far right in his address in front of the Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square. Very odd, but then he is quite an odd man. Keir Starmer's clearly put out his statement, written by a human, delivered in his usual robotic, stilted voice. It's like someone's given him a list of everything that Christmas should entail, and he's just sort of stood there and robotically read out the words. He doesn't really understand what they mean, but he's read them out in some sort of very odd android kind of fashion, which for me took all the joy out of his Christmas message. Kemi Badenoch's message in front of her Christmas tree obviously referenced being a mother and the excitement of having your own children at Christmas time, something I very much understand and enjoy. You know, everyone's got their own way of delivering their Christmas message, but I would like to see someone maybe just out on a dog walk or walking through the countryside instead of standing stilted in front of a tree. So let's see which other messages emerge today.
Well, let's see. Lyndon, thank you very much, Leader of Kent County Council there, and a Merry Christmas to you.
Now, I have just checked on Nigel Farage's social media page, and he hasn't yet posted
No.
He did one yesterday wishing a Merry Christmas to small family farmers. Of course, Reform have been very big on supporting farmers, as Lyndon just said then, as have we here at GB News.
Indeed. And do let us know what you want Nigel Farage to say in his Christmas message, gbnews.com/your say. But it is time now for the Great British Giveaway, and your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date, £85,000. That's an incredible amount of money, isn't it?
Would be nice before Christmas. You wouldn't have to go to the supermarkets after Christmas then to get your turkey, would you?
No, you can buy several turkeys for that price.
Very organised. The next 10 years, turkeys in the freezer.
All in the freezer. Yes, make sure they're labelled correctly. Hayley Sparks has all the details from Lapland.
This Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the fabulously festive Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what next year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You could find yourself on the adventure of a lifetime or just safe in the knowledge that next year is on us. £85,000 of tax-free cash really could be yours. Go on, give it a go, and Merry Christmas!
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck to all entrants. I'm sure you'll have a very Merry Christmas if you're taking home £85,000. Now, up next, we'll be finding out why festive indulgence is actually good for you. Sounds good to me. That's with Matthew Torbett and Reem Ibrahim. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom, and I'm very happy. We're very happy because we've got lots of treats in the studio because, of course, it's Christmas. We're joined by former Labour advisor Matthew Torbett and head of media at the IEA.
No greater treat, by the way, than us two.
Absolutely. I don't know these biscuits. They're actually quite something, so...
Absolutely. They are so lovely, but... I believe, Reem, that festive indulgences can actually be good for you, so it's fine that I'm eating the biscuit.
They can be. So this is a story in the Telegraph online. This is actually a dietitian and the author of How Not to Eat Ultra-Processed, who, her name is Nicola, and she says that over Christmas, many of us have enough time to slow down, reconnect with family and friends, and enjoy good food, all of which can benefit our mental health and well-being. So she goes on to list various activities, saying that, you know, drinking warm drinks like hot chocolate are actually good for you. There are some benefits to enjoying those treats.
Mulled wine on the list?
Mulled wine is also on the list because you're drinking a warm drink. Yes. And actually part of it is there is some studies that look at singing carols, saying that actually it has a positive impact on your mental health. Christmas overall is a joyous period, and that has a wonderful impact on your physical and mental health. However...
Oh,
I knew
no,
there'd be something.
I knew there'd be... Yeah.
Everybody thinks of the Grinch as this green, horrible monster that is hate-filled, trying to steal Christmas. But I'll tell you who our Grinch really is.
Who?
It's the government. Now, the government have implemented various regulations and restrictions to make your Christmas more expensive and more difficult to access. Let me give you a quick list here. A bottle of whiskey. We all enjoy some whiskey over Christmas sometimes. The price of a bottle of whiskey is about 75% tax. So the amount that you pay, about 75% of that goes straight to HMRC. So you are buying the government, the Treasury, a drink before you get one yourself. There are various different Christmassy foods that are currently restricted, where you cannot get any bog-off bans. So, you know, buy one, get one free deals, multi-buy deals. These are all illegal. These foods cannot be on the exits or the, you know, sort of checkouts, easily accessible. They can't be advertised online at all, and they cannot be advertised between 5:30 and 9 p.m. Do you want to hear these foods?
I feel like your
pies.
say is about to explode when our viewers hear some of this list. But go ahead, Reem, read us some of them.
Pork pies, pigs in blankets, Yule logs, mince pies, which I've stolen from our producers.
Lovely.
Potatoes and goose fat. Now, interestingly, the Sainsbury's Christmas advert this year had to be changed because it included potatoes in goose fat, which is illegal under the Advertising Regulations 2024
Well, how would
Act.
they know it's got goose fat on it? It's ridiculous. Anyway,
Showing the packaging, perhaps.
well, Matthew, is this one of the reasons why pubs appear to be going under? Because a lot of the alcohol is taxed?
It could be. I think there's issues with regards to hospitality, especially with the Nix rise. The Nix rise was unpopular but also a bit odd because it went against all Treasury orthodoxy in that you would normally do a Nix rise when there had been some element of growth, and obviously, as everyone's aware, we haven't had any growth this year. I think there's elements of what Reem said, you know, that are silly from the government. Ultimately, if you want to go out and get some pigs in blankets, you can still get them. We've not got.
But they're more expensive. The government have literally made it illegal to have multi-buy deals. You can't get buy one, get one free in your pigs in blankets at Christmas because the government have told you you can't. You know why? The nanny state wants to protect you from yourself. The government
I don't want
is
to be
saying
protected. I want pigs in blankets.
you need to be protected. You know what is also illegal now as a result of some of the regulations that came in this year? Hot chocolate cannot be on free refills. So Wetherspoons, Morrison's, it is now illegal in the United Kingdom. In Starmer's Britain, it is illegal to have a free refill on your hot chocolate at Christmas.
Is that like what happened with Coca-Cola?
Yeah,
with the cold drinks?
Exactly. So part of it is because of the sugar tax. It's because it counts as HFSS, high in fat, sugar or salt foods. And I think it is absolutely ridiculous. I think people understand this more so at Christmas than at any time. People like to enjoy themselves. And clearly what this Telegraph story tells us is that it is good for people to be happy and enjoy themselves. And the Grinch, aka the government, want to make it more expensive and more difficult for everybody across the country to enjoy Christmas.
Well, for anyone that's got this on at home and might have kids in the background, I've just had a text there from Keir Starmer. It's not too late. I've got his naughty list here. Reem Ibrahim has just been added at the very last moment. So just behave yourself tonight, otherwise Mum and Dad might have a lump of coal in them.
Matthew, the government would say they're increasing all of these taxes and all the rest of it to try and tackle childhood obesity, for example.
Yes, I think there's... Listen, I think there is always going to be aspects of people that can't help themselves, and, you know, the nanny state gets a bad rep. I don't mind a little bit of nanny state on occasions. It can be useful, I
give
think.
it a rest,
Oh, come on, Reem, it's like Christmas, come on!
No, I don't want any nanny.
There's elements of this, you know, the pigs in blankets stuff. Listen, I love a pig in blanket, same as anyone else. But ultimately, you know, pork and carcinogenics and things that are in them are ultimately bad for you, quite cancerous, and therefore the government are going, if we've want a health service that can function, we could do without everybody getting iller and sicker.
Shall we talk about this story in the Telegraph, which I think is in a similar vein? Make mine a half. Small beers would reduce town centre violence. So this is police chief saying that if shops sold alcohol in smaller bottles or cans, there'd be less town centre violence. That's not really in the Christmas spirit, though, is it either?
I also think it's unrealistic. Look, someone that has an issue with drinking doesn't drink. I appreciate the message that the more tanked up people get on Mad Friday, Christmas Eve, whatever it might be, Boxing Day, there'll be scraps happening in town centres.
There's not really about the size of the receptacle, is it? Because if it's smaller, you might just buy two.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly what happens. I mean, listen, I travel all over with the football, and that's exactly what would happen. People will go, well, I'll get 20 rather than 10 of the bottles and get on board. So I don't think it's about that. I think they may have been better doing a little bit of nanny state, sorry, Reem, in saying, have a little bit to have a think about what you're drinking this Christmas.
Have a think about is different to making it extortionately expensive by forcing higher taxes, higher prices and more regulations and restrictions.
You can't. It's only nearly £10 a pint in London. You can't be putting it up much more.
Well, exactly, that's the point. You can't put them up much more. Hubs across the country are struggling as a result. What I would say is there have been so many different examples of these kind of restrictions. One example is in Scotland, they implemented minimum alcohol pricing, so alcohol had to be sold at a minimum price, and it had no impact whatsoever on alcohol consumption rates.
People want it, they're going to buy it.
They're going to buy it.
What it did, there was actually a correlation between that, the minimum unit pricing, and alcohol harm-related deaths went down. So I think there is an impact.
But it didn't have any impact on how much people were drinking. It had no impact on consumption rates.
No, but I think it can make people think differently. And I think there's more, rather than it being, yes, maybe we'll agree partly on...
It doesn't make people think differently. The thing is, there are a very, very small number of problem drinkers in the country. Very, very small number of people. Those people must be protected, of course.
Alcohol-related deaths
why should the rest of the country have to pay more?
The pandemic, and actually what we've seen is people developing bad habits. The issue I have with alcohol being so much more expensive in pubs is people just go and drink more at home where there's no limit, essentially. You know, you're not going to get barred or kicked out. You'll drink yourself into a stupor. So there's an aspect of that I'll agree with you on, but to say that there's only a few problem drinkers when actually it's 50 to 65-year-olds that are a key cohort and alcohol-related deaths are up 30% since the pandemic is a real issue.
Reem, just quickly, let's end with some Christmas cheer. CDs are returning to Christmas lists this year.
They are. So this was a story in The Guardian. Demand for CD players has risen by 74% this year amid these deluxe releases from artists like Taylor Swift and Pink Floyd. I think it's interesting because they've kind of become a bit more retro. I mean, this might sound absolutely hilarious to people that actually grew up with CDs at home being a normal thing. I didn't. I mean, I had them when I was very young, but it's sort of a similar thing with like record players, right? It was a very retro thing back in the day. Now people love it because it's sort of seen as a bit of a vintage, nice thing to have. 74% is a lot, though. That is a huge increase.
I just couldn't imagine ever purchasing a CD, and I'll tell you why. Because the time I listen to music most is in the car. Well, my car does not have a CD player.
Yes.
So, all right, you can buy a CD player, but I don't necessarily listen to music in the house as much. My time for that is in the car. So I'm really surprised by 74% there.
Well, nowadays everyone wants convenience. So...
Well, exactly. They want convenience, but I think also for style, people like the look of things like vinyls, for example. I don't think it's actually necessarily that people use it all the time. It's just it looks pretty.
Yes. Matthew, do you have a CD player still?
Do I heck? No. Although, can I actually thank Reem as well for making me feel utterly ancient? I didn't grow up with CDs. But within this, people are also going back to the old school MP3 players because you get everything on the phone now, Spotify or wherever else, Apple Music. People are going back to the old MP3 players. And I thought, do you know what? I might do a bit of that. That sounds all right. And I think there's a bit in this, everyone knows at home, everything's awful. So I think it's actually harking back to a time where, I don't know if it's emotional amnesia, things were better back then.
Yeah, well, quite possibly.
Christmas is turning up in October, everyone's wanting to celebrate. Like, it's because everything's...
I'm afraid we've run out of time, but Merry Christmas to both of you.
Merry
Christmas, Matthew,
guys.
thank you so much. Now it's time for your, I was about to say weather then, your news update with Tatiana Sanchez.
Cameron, thank you very much. The top stories. The Prime Minister has acknowledged Britain's cost of living struggles in his Christmas message and vowed that helping with the issue is his priority.
I'd like to wish the whole country a very happy Christmas. Right now, all across the UK, people are travelling home to be with their loved ones. Children are bursting with excitement. Families are making the final preparations, wrapping presents, hanging stockings, rushing out for last-minute bits. It's a truly special time of year. I know many across Britain are still struggling with the cost of living. Helping with that is my priority.
A photograph has been released by Buckingham Palace showing the King delivering his Christmas message again outside of traditional palace walls. This year, the annual address was filmed in the Lady Chapel inside Westminster Abbey, the second time the monarch has recorded it away from the royal residence. And breaking news this hour, a teenage British boy stabbed to death in Portugal has now been named as Alfie Hallett. The country's criminal police said it's investigating the death both of the boy and the alleged attacker. Local media have identified the boy as the British teenager Alfie Hallett. Those are the latest headlines for now. More in half an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Well, coming up next is Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Olivia. Good morning to both of you. Tom, I'm loving your festive Christmas jumper.
Thank you. I thought I'd be a little bit festive, but you can only see the hat here. But if I raise up slightly, there you go. And now it looks a bit more. It could be Father Christmas, or it could just be a slightly hipsterish moustache.
Or it is Scrooge disguised as Father Christmas because your jumper is green.
It is green. Beware the green-eyed monster, as. I think that's Othello. But no, we're being very Christmassy today. Not even the slightest bit Grinchy or Scroogey. No, it's all Christmas cheer from here on out.
Well, it is Christmas cheer. We might be pick a little bit at the Prime Minister's Christmas message. I don't like all the reach-out stuff. It feels quite American-y, quite jargony. Not really sure about that. Someone on the GB News comment section said it was like AI, but with less character and force, which I quite enjoyed.
And what did you make of Kemi Badenoch, of Sir Ed Davies?
I quite like how Kemi Badenoch spoke about her Christian heritage, about her Methodist family. I've got some Methodist family, and I think it does. So did Margaret Thatcher, and I think it does install some sort of values in you. And she spoke about her Catholic children and all the rest of it. And I suppose there is a time at Christmas. If there's one time at a year, I think that politicians should do God. And Tony Blair once said politicians should never do God. But if there's one time that they should, maybe it's Christmas.
To give him his due, Keir Starmer actually did mention Christian values as well, which I was quite surprised about because he normally sort of sucks all the Christianity out of Christian festivals, but not this time. Ed Davey, of course, is a committed Christian, and he talked about that in his Christmas message. Quite interesting to see how different politicians do it. I noticed you picked up on Nigel Farage not releasing a Christmas message at all.
Yes, and so have lots of our viewers.
I think that's the way to do it. I don't think politicians should be anywhere near Christmas. They should keep clear and leave it to the King.
They should leave it to the King, and of course we will hear the King's Christmas message tomorrow.
Now, we should say that there's a couple of other stories that we'll be covering. Of course, the U-turn. Why on earth did this farmers tax, family tax U-turn not come at the time of the budget? Why it seems completely haphazard. I mean, people went through torment at that time of the budget. That was the time to do it, not now.
Is it to avoid parliamentary and media scrutiny?
Well, that's a question. We've got a couple more stories like that too.
Perfect. Well, thank you both. We'll see you at midday. But a pub landlord is calling 2025 the worst year for hospitality since the pandemic, and we'll be live from West Yorkshire with the latest.
This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your Christmas Eve weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. For most, it's a dry day out there. Quite a bit of cloud around, but generally a bit brighter than yesterday. Some places seeing some sunny spells. There is a cold wind blowing, thanks to high pressure sitting in the North Sea. But look at the isobars squeezed together across the south. That's where the strong easterly wind is particularly noticeable, feeling a lot colder than it has done so far through this winter. Quite a bit of cloud coming in from the east as well, but we are seeing some sunny spells, particularly in parts of Wales and across much of Scotland, although there has been some stubborn fog patches which will thicken up again tonight over northern Scotland. Temperature-wise, 5 to 7 degrees, but feeling a lot colder than that in the wind across the south, which continues to blow as we go through this evening. Heading out this Christmas Eve night, well, it should be dry. Quite a bit of cloud around, some clearer skies across the west of Wales and generally clear skies for Northern Ireland and across much of Scotland. Again, in northern Scotland, the Moray Firth up through Caithness, Sutherland, that's where we're most likely to see some fog patches. And with light winds here and those clear skies, that's where we'll see the lowest temperatures. There'll be a frost forming here, so freezing fog is likely. Elsewhere, most places avoiding a frost because more cloud will be spilling in and we will have that strong and cold wind continuing to blow across the south. So that'll help to keep those temperatures, as I say, above freezing. Most of us start Christmas Day at 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. I say the main frosty area will be northern Scotland, and there will, as I say, be some fog around here, so bear that in mind if you're travelling early on Christmas Day. For most, though, it's a fine dry day, a bit more sunshine over the Midlands, South Wales, southern England. The far southwest of England, some cloud here. There's a small chance of even catching a shower, and there will again be a brisk and cold wind blowing here. The wind's a little lighter further north, temperatures 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. Goodbye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A very good morning to you. The time is 11:43 and you're watching Britain's Newsroom on GB News with Sophie Reaper and Cameron Walker.
Now, Christmas is meant to be a time for family and celebration, but this isn't the case for everybody.
According to Age UK, around 1.5 million older people across the country will eat Christmas dinner alone, with most saying they feel more isolated at this time of year.
Well, psychotherapist and broadcaster Lucy Beresford joins us now. Lucy, good morning to you. I think it's a stark reminder, isn't it, that not everybody is going to be with their family this year?
That's right. Many people don't have family and they might have limited friends. And because there is so much focus on being with family, that can mean that the lifeline that you've had with other people in your circle just isn't there. And because of the, one might say, relentless visibility of Christmas being portrayed as something that's very much about connection and social engagement, if you don't have that experience, if that is not your lived experience, then that's going to feel doubly wounding.
Now, Lucy, I think for many of us, we would love to support an older person out there who might be feeling a bit lonely this Christmas, but maybe don't know who the best person is to try and support or what to do. What advice would you give to our viewers who would like to do their bit to try and support someone who might be struggling or lonely this Christmas?
Well, I'm really glad that you're highlighting this, but I think we have to recognise that it isn't actually just elderly people, that actually it could be anybody in your circle who's on their own. It is widely thought that nearly 1 in 5 people in the UK now live alone. So it doesn't have to be about an elderly person. So really just take some time today to maybe think about your wider circle, maybe even just go through your phone and almost identify the people who are alone, who are single, or who perhaps recently been widowed or separated, people who you know are on their own, but you don't know what their Christmas plans are. Maybe just send them a message just to let them know that in that moment you're thinking of them. And if you don't think that that person, if you're right and you're talking about an elderly person, maybe they don't have a mobile phone or they don't switch it on all the time, maybe think about actually getting in touch with them in another way, maybe even going and seeing them in person. Even though today is so busy, so chaotic, that period of time that you take to think about another person will be really invaluable. And I think if we think about the Christmas story in general, it's very much about total strangers opening up their home, or in this case, the innkeeper opening up his stable to people that he'd never met before and would probably never meet again. Christmas is very much about that. It's not about how many Brussels sprouts you can eat. It's not about how many presents you can get or give. It's about human connection and how you can make that happen for yourself, but for other people too.
Absolutely. Psychotherapist and broadcaster Lucy Beresford, thank you for joining us.
And a very Merry Christmas to you as well, Lucy. Now, moving on, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast of some of the top European holiday destinations.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The colder weather the UK is experiencing on Christmas Day extends into Iberia. It's unsettled across the central part of the Mediterranean. Also some rain through Turkey. But Greece looking mostly fine. Sunny spells here. The rain and wind through the central Med affecting the Balearics, heading into the south of France and Italy later. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal, but feeling cooler, and it's going to stay on the cool side here into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy.
a chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight at 8 o'clock tonight, only on GBNews, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Well, cheers, Sophie.
Cheers. Nearly it from us. And we are going to a pub now, where our fabulous Anna Riley is waiting for us. She's in the Black Horse pub in Wakefield, who say they're struggling to keep their doors open due to rising energy bills and poor profits. Where is she? There she is.
Oh, you've got Prosecco as well.
No,
oh,
that's
no,
a
it was the
microphone.
microphone. Sorry, the monitor's so small. The monitor's so small. Anna, sorry.
Take it
away.
Merry Christmas, Cameron and Sophie, and welcome to the Black Horse pub here in Wakefield. It's a pub hoping for a festive boost like all pubs across the country after the budget. Some being slammed by up to £30,000 in business rates, high energy bills, some of them being forced to close or reduce on their hours. We're joined by the landlord, Tony Padgett. Tony, thank you so much for having us. Getting Christmas Eve off with a bang there. Thank you very much. What are the problems that you have been facing?
Well, the increase in national insurance, the threat of the increase of rates, the increase in our products, the utilities, everything's been a struggle. It's made this Christmas slightly quieter than the last 11 that we've had here at the Black Horse. And we are hoping that the government will do a U-turn on the increase in business rates next year, as they have for the farmers. We're looking at a potential £15,000 increase in our business rates alone. We then have the increase in the wage, we increase in all our products, everything's going up from April, and we really hope that the government will see sense and that perhaps somebody within the Labour government will get a grasp of what's going on and stop the decline in our industry, because it is happening.
And like you say, we have seen that U-turn for the farmers, for the inheritance tax, you know. Some, I know you haven't, but some pubs have even banned Labour MPs from their pubs. But what are you hoping for this Christmas? Do you think there will be that extra boost? Have you seen it being a little bit busier?
It started quieter. It started a little bit later, but we have actually had an extremely good Christmas. The people of Wakefield like to go out and enjoy themselves, and I think no matter how hard times have been, they're still making that effort and they support the pubs. They're a very big part of the community, and we're hoping for a good Christmas and a very good New Year, and then a couple of days off.
Put your feet up. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us, and Merry Christmas. Hope it does pick up. And Merry Christmas to you too, Cameron and Sophie. We are in a pub, so it would be rude not to have a drink, wouldn't it? Merry Christmas from me and from our cameraman
John
too.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas,
Anna and John.
Have a lovely Christmas. And that's it from us, isn't it, Cameron?
It certainly is.
So cheers to us in Britain's Newsroom.
Absolutely. And Anna may be in a pub, but we're in a studio in London, so I think that's also an excuse to crack open the Prosecco.
Merry Christmas to all of our fabulous viewers as well. Thank you for sticking with us all year. Your support means the absolute world to us. Cameron and I will be back together on Britain's Newsroom on New Year's Eve as well, so tune in for that as well.
And I'll have the latest from all the King's Speech and the Sandringham chaos of the royal family tomorrow.
Absolutely.
See you then.
Merry Christmas.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your Christmas Eve weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. For most, it's a dry day out there. Quite a bit of cloud around, but generally a bit brighter than yesterday. Some places seeing some sunny spells. There is a cold wind blowing thanks to high pressure sitting in the North Sea. But look at the isobars squeezed together across the south. That's where the strong easterly wind is particularly noticeable, feeling a lot colder than it has done so far through this winter. Quite a bit of cloud coming in from the east as well, but we are seeing some sunny spells, particularly in parts of Wales and across much of Scotland, although there has been some stubborn fog patches which will thicken up again tonight over northern Scotland. Temperature-wise, 5 to 7 degrees, but feeling a lot colder than that in the wind across the south, which continues to blow as we go through this evening. Heading out this Christmas Eve night, well, it should be dry. Quite a bit of cloud around, some clearer skies across the west of Wales and generally clear skies for Northern Ireland and across much of Scotland. Again, in northern Scotland, the Moray Firth up through Caithness, Sutherland, that's where we're most likely to see some fog patches. And with light winds here and those clear skies, that's where we'll see the lowest temperatures. There'll be a frost forming here, so freezing fog is likely. Elsewhere, most places avoiding a frost because more cloud will be spilling in and we will have that strong and cold wind continuing to blow across the south. So that'll help to keep those temperatures, as I say, above freezing. Most of us start Christmas Day at 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. I say the main frosty area will be northern Scotland, and there will, as I say, be some fog around here, so bear that in mind if you're travelling early on Christmas Day. For most, though, it's a fine dry day, a bit more sunshine over the Midlands, South Wales, southern England. The far southwest of England, some cloud here. There's a small chance of even catching a shower, and there will again be a brisk and cold wind blowing here. The wind's a little lighter further north, temperatures 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. Goodbye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
A very Merry Christmas to you all from the Aurora Collection Resort in Lapland.
We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000.
And this Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win it all. So don't miss out this Christmas.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all